there's the unexpected, right? So yeah, on the one hand, the striving to do better and to get it right, of course, we all have that. But then there's something else that I think is perhaps even more important, that we all need as parents, fathers. How do we have a conversation with our children after disappointing or frightening them, or getting it wrong, or which happens and happens again and again and again. And as they get older, when they let us down, teenagers will do that. How do we have a conversation about that in the family, whether we're separated, living together or not, even if you're in another city? How do we have that conversation, which is about vulnerability?
How do you?
How do we? Well, I do think it is about vulnerability and telling the truth fundamentally, as the theme, and it's starting that conversation. I think is what's hardest, and scary, and painful. But it's just that the reward of that is so great, and it loosens up the image of bad dad or naughty child or something. We become human that way. I think that's what makes a family. Families are a mess, really, and we go from it being one wonderful and glorious mess to another rotten mess. That's just it.
Yeah.
But how we then have moments of connection about that and truth telling, that's what creates, I think, the greatest beauty of relationships. And none of us do that enough, but geez, we need to. I often think that with my parents, it's not the stuff that they did that disappointed me the worst, as any human parents do, is not really, like, they used to fight, for instance. They used to scream at each other in the worst possible way and say some pretty horrible stuff, and it freaked me out as a kid. And when I think about it, that's not really the worst of it. The worst, because humans, we do stuff, we lose control one way or another. It's the fact that neither of them would then turn to me the following day or a week later or 5 minutes later to say, listen, I'm aware that you had to listen to our fight, our conflict. How do you feel about that? How did that make you feel? Your turn.
Yeah.
Your turn to have a voice. Tell us what you want about that. And I think, for me, that's what does the offence, really. Not the fact of, the conflict, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
And that, for lack of a better word, to call that repair, and by repair I don't mean, getting on your knees and saying, oh, mea culpa, getting all guilt is, you know what I think? Guilt is boring. It gets in the way, Guilt is what I talk about to my therapist.
Yeah.
I don't think our kids want to know about our guilt. It doesn't really give them anything. Remorse is different. Remorse is actually helpful, and it's not, the apology is not if that's what's in your heart, that's important, but it's not the only thing, it's giving them a voice. And that repair, if I can call it that, I don't think it's ever too late for that. Ever. 50 years later it makes a difference, if needs be.
Yeah.